morning! Welcome to another video that nobody will watch. So today I was looking through my news feed and one of my Facebook friends was quite upset about, she said, no matter what I do, everybody's telling me what I'm doing wrong. And that got me to thinking, I think I'm going to do a video about that tonight. Because I told her, I said, it doesn't matter who you are. People are going to criticize. I mean, I don't know about a lot of people. I mean, I know like when I criticize somebody, when I'm critical of somebody, it's normally because I don't like them. But that doesn't change that not everybody's like that. Like there are some people that when news of them gets to me, I'm like, yeah, and I'll have all kinds of stuff to say about it and criticize the shit out of them. But in daily life, there's just people that are like that, they cannot say anything nice. Like, if you say, like, if they show up at your house and you're like, well, hey, would you like something to drink? And they say, well, what do you have? And you tell them, well, I like Kool-Aid. Okay, I got Kool-Aid. What flavor is it? It's cherry. Well, I like black cherry. Come on. It's like, really? You've got to make that? Some people, I've known people, it's like you could get a car and you've got a spare car around. And let's say it's a silver car. And you say to this person, hey, I know you don't have a car, so I decided you can have mine. I don't need this one anymore. And there are people who, instead of saying, thank you, that's so nice of you, oh my God, I have a car now. Some people will just say, well, I don't like silver. It's like, dude, really? And I mean, there are people like that all over the place. People who, they just cannot say anything nice. Like if you said, I got a raise. How much was it? 25 cents. Oh, really? 25-cent raise? Oh. Because some people, and when you're in a really bad place, you really need people telling you, oh, that's awesome, good job. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. And in our society, there isn't a whole lot of cheerleading going on with people. I honestly can't think of when I do something good that there's a bunch of people telling me I did something good. We're just kind of left with our own selves saying, ooh, I did this. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of myself because nobody else is saying, I'm proud of you. But everybody will sit there and go, oh, you made that yourself? I can tell. It's like, why you gotta be negative? And probably the worst is when you say to somebody, hey, I'm gonna do this thing. I need your help. Because, maybe they know how to do what you're trying to do. And they don't come and help you. So you end up having to do it yourself. And then they complain about how you did it. And it's like, well, I did ask for your help. I did say, hey, help me out with this. I need some help with this. I gave you time. Wives typically know about that because we will ask a husband quite a few times, help us with this. And they don't, so we end up doing it ourselves. And then the husband comes home and he says, well, that doesn't look that good. Or how many screws you got in that thing? You didn't need that many screws, or this is uneven. Well, shit, I asked for help and 3 months went by and it didn't happen, so, that's probably what kills me the most, but it doesn't matter who you are. People are going to criticize you. They're going to criticize you when you make a mistake. They're going to criticize you when you do well. And I don't get it. when people tell me something, even if I don't think it's all that great, if they're telling me, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. That's awesome. I think that's about the only time I really use the word awesome is when I'm not really impressed, but I'm not going to sit there and say, like it's kind of like when somebody I crochet and knit, and when I teach somebody that first thing that they make that they're so proud, like my mom was like so proud of her knitted work, and it was so I mean everything my mom did was horrible. I mean, no, she could sew clothes, she could do that, but everything else that she made, because she was like, she didn't care about making it right. And she was one of those people who would say, oh, I made a mistake, but you know it still turned out okay. And me, I'm one of those people who, if I can't get it perfect, I'm not gonna do it. Like I do not sew. My mom tried to teach me a couple of times, and I suck at it because I'm kind of impatient about it. And if the stitches are not perfect, I get really upset. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not good at sewing, so I'm not gonna sew. I'll put a button on, you know. But don't expect me to sew something pretty. So quilting is out, because I suck at using a sewing machine too. I'd probably be better off with actually doing it by hand anyway. But I can cross stitch. And then I can do, because the holes are there. It's just make an X, make an X, make an X. Um, but my mom's work, she would give people these washcloths she knitted, and she was always so proud of it. And I always said, thank you so much, Mom. And I would use her washcloths for like the dirtiest dang jobs, because I wasn't about, I mean, they were crap. They were never square. Like they were supposed to be square dishcloths, and they'd be all kinds of weird shaped. She would not count her stitches or anything. And so I was like, oh, gee, thanks for the gift. I'm like, oh, awesome, Mom. Yeah, I'll take them. She was so proud of them that, and it's kind of like when your kid draws you a picture. What do you tell your kid when they give you a picture? You do your best. You do your absolute best when your kid hands you a picture to guess what they drew, and you hope to God that you get it right. Because if it's not what you think it is, it makes me feel bad, because I'm like telling them how great their picture is, and I better know what it is. If I say it's a dog and they're like, it's not a dog, Mom, it's a amoeba. Oh, that's a great amoeba. I mean, you tell your kids that. You don't tell them, that doesn't look anything like what you're trying to draw. That doesn't look like your family. You don't tell your kids that, because that would be just a really dick move to tell your kids to stop drawing because they suck at it. Just like when they make a mistake, you don't, well, a good parent doesn't rail against their kid because their kid made a mistake. If they've made a mistake that they have to get punished for, you don't overly criticize them on that mistake. You just, if it's a rule that, like here at my house, the big rule for my son is, if it's not yours, don't touch it. So when he does mess up and mess with things that he's not supposed to mess with, we'll tell him, hey, if you wanted that, why didn't you come get us? Why didn't you say something? Don't just take stuff because you want to take it and then mess it up. We don't really like lay on him about it. And if he does something he's not supposed to, like if he tears up something, we don't sit there and say, well, you were doing that wrong, or we try not to criticize him. It's like, well, hey, that's not how that's used. It's okay that you broke it. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to, when your kids make a mistake, you do your best to tell them that everybody makes mistakes. Mistakes are forgivable. if you apologize, um, and you let them know that they're loved. And that's the main thing we have to remember when we're dealing with family and friends, is that when they make a misstep, it's not a good idea to really sit there and, I mean, especially if they know that they messed up, to really pound that in, that you messed up. No, they know they messed up. So what you're supposed to say is, well, what can we do to fix this? How can we fix this? Is there a way to fix it? How can we um, prevent this from happening again? Those are the things that you need to say to somebody instead of criticizing. But if you're somebody being criticized, don't think that you're the only person who can't do anything right. Because and this is not to invalidate anybody's feelings, but everybody's got those quote unquote haters. They may not be actually haters, they're just people who can't give a fucking compliment. They're just like, it's not in them. They can't be happy for you. They've got to tell you what you should have done, what you should have asked for, what you should have got. It's like, or how you should have spent your money, or what car you should have got. I mean, it's like really, I try my best to distance myself from that kind of negativity and those kinds of people. But my friend was all, why can't I just be myself? And I told her, I said, we're getting too old to be pretending all the time. And unless everybody around you is constantly walking on eggshells, there's nothing wrong with you. And when I say walking on eggshells, I'm talking about if you're one of those people who it takes nothing to set you off. Now, if everybody around you is walking on eggshells, you need to take a good look at yourself and try to fix whatever's wrong with you. But otherwise, the rest of us, we're used to people kicking us when we're down, trying to knock us down a peg or two when we're up. It's just par for the course of life that there's always going to be negative people. And it's not really that they're picking on you. That's who they are. That's the relationship that you have with them. Because like I said, if you kick those people out of your life, if you can, some people you can't, some people you're stuck with. But if you can kick those people out of your lives, it's best not to deal in that negativity. And if you have to say to that person, hey, I'm not going to talk to you if you keep treating me like this. There's nothing wrong with saying to somebody, hey, I'm trying to have a good day. I don't need somebody knocking me down. Or, on the other hand, saying, hey, I feel bad enough as it is. I don't need somebody to tell me all my mistakes. I need somebody to help me feel better. I need somebody who's going to not tell me what all I've done wrong and what all is wrong with me. That's all anybody needs. You get those people out of your lives, or you limit contact with them. Period. You'll be a lot happier if you're not hearing their negativity. And if those people are just slightly related to you, like if you kick them out of your life, but other people around you associate with them, anytime those people come up with something, say, hey, I don't want to know anything that person says. I don't want to know. Because that stuff will just set me off, and I'd like to have a good day today. So, you're not alone. Everybody deals with it. Unless you are, which, that really, those types of people in your life and in the world, and knowing that everybody's like that everybody gets that, kind of makes you realize how lucky hermits are. Hermits, they just go off into the wilderness and don't see people. They're just by themselves all the time. And that's not such a bad thing when you think about the negativity in the world, news, and all this other stuff going on, and just and all the mistakes. Because when you're all by yourself, if you make a mistake, there's nobody to criticize you but you. Even though you are your worst critic, at least you're the only one, you know? So don't let them get you. Don't let them get you down, Own your mistakes, own your accomplishments, and have a good night.